Students, today we are going to start with the fourth chapter, The Gold Frame. This is written by R.K. Lakshman. His full name is Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Lakshman. He was born on 23rd October 1924 and he is famous cartoonist, illustrator and humorist. So basically he is a writer, but along with that he is a very famous cartoonist also, and he is known for his humor. He makes fun and satires in his works. He is widely regarded as India's greatest ever cartoonist and was known for his creation The Common Man. I would start reading the first line. The modern framework was actually an extra large wooden packing case mounted on wobbly legs tucked in a gap between a drugstore and a radio repair shop. So, when this story opens, let us understand the setting of the poem. There is a shop, and this shop makes frames, photo frames, right? So, what is the name of the shop? It is Modern Frame Works. Where it is situated? It is situated between a drugstore and a radio repair shop. So on the one side there is a drug medicine store, and on the other side there is a radio repair shop, and in the middle is situated this Modern Frame Works. Its owner Datta and his concave figure, silver rimmed glasses and a complexion of seasoned timber fitted into the shop with the harmony of fixture. So the main character is introduced. His name is Datta. Datta is the owner of this Modern Frame Works. He is of concave figure. He is very slim and trim, and he is wearing glass, which is of glass specs, which is of silver rimmed, and his complexion is like a seasoned timber. It's like a brown wood. So his complexion, his personality is very much suitable with the atmosphere of the shop, because in his shop there are, what would he use for making frames? The wood, and then silver, and kind of plastic frames or other. So he is very much convenient with the atmosphere of the shop. He was a silent, hard-working man. So what you would notice that Datta does not talk much. He is very silent. He is a hard-working man. He gave only laconic answer to the questions his customer asked, and sternly discouraged casual friends who tried to intrude on his zone of silence with their idle gossip. So Datta does not like to have gossip with his friends. He gives laconic answers, to the point answers to the customer when he is asked. Generally, he tried to avoid the people and the friends from his shop. He is very much busy in his own work. He was always been seen sitting hunched up, surrounded by a confusion of cardboard pieces, bits of wood, glass sheets, boxes of nails, glue bottles, paint tins, and other odds that ends that went into putting a picture in a frame. So whenever Datta is seen, he is surrounded by his equipments. What are the equipments? Like cardboard, glass sheet, nails, glue bottles, paints, and so on. So he is always busy making the picture frames. In this medley, a glass cutter or a pencil stub was often lost, and that was when he would uncoil from his posture and group impatiently for it. Many times he had to stand up and shake his dhoti vigorously to dislodge the lost object. This operation rocked the whole shop, setting the picture on the wall gently swinging. So here you would see that R.K. Lakshman is using fun. He is using kind of humor in this story. So what the scene is shown is like many times Datta, he forgets where he has put his pencil, right? So what does he do? He just finds it here and there, and he just moves his dhoti, and that it comes out of that. So there is a kind of humor. And when he is searching for his pencil, the writer shows that all the pictures on the walls, they are moving from one side to other, so it just creates humor. There was not an inch of space that was not covered by a picture: God, saint, hockey player, children, cheap prints of the Mona Lisa, national leaders, wedding couples, Urdu calligraphy. Calligraphy is handwriting. The snow-clad Fujiyama. Fujiyama is a Japanese, what you call that, eruption of lava. So whenever there you enter into Datta's shop, you would see many pictures. His shop is full of pictures of gods, of players, of children, and everyone. Page 142. Many other coexisted with a cheerful incongruity, like some fabulous world awaiting order and arrangement. A customer standing outside the shop on the pavement, obstructing the stream of jostling pedestrian, announced, "I want this picture framed." Datta, with his habitual indifference, ignored him and continued to be engaged in driving screw into the sides of a frame. So, this story happens that a customer comes to Datta's shop and he orders him to frame a picture. Datta, as it is his habit, he ignores him. He does not like to listen much from his the customer, and Datta is busy in driving screw into the frame. And the customer says, "I want a really good job done, no matter how much it costs." The customer volunteered the information, unwrapping a faded newspaper and exposing a sepia brown photograph of an old man. Sepia brown, you must have seen when your book turns old, the pages turns bit yellowish or brown. So that is sepia brown. It was sharp and highly glazed in spite of its antiquity. Now the customer, he takes out a photographs out, and it is of sepia brown, very old photograph, and he says, "Look at this picture, I want it frame this picture for me." "What sort of frame would you like?" The Tag still bent over his work. Now the Tag, "Okay, what kind of frame you want?" And Datta is not looking at the eyes of the customer, he is busy doing his own work. "The best, of course. Do you expect I would stint where this great soul is concerned?" "Stint? Conjusi." He says, "Do you think I will stint? I want best thing for my, this great soul. He is some great grandfather. This picture is the great grandfather picture of that customer." Datta gave a side glance and caught a glimpse of the photograph. Just another elderly person of those days, he told himself. A standard portrait of a grandfather, a philanthropist, a social worker with the inevitable whisker, and top-heavy cascading turn. It could be any one of these. Now Datta looks at the photo and he does not care to look very minutely at it. He notices, okay, this picture is as simple as is of the other elderly person with a long whisker is a beard, and he's wearing some turban. So it's not, according to Datta, it's not some kind of special picture. At least half a dozen people came to him every month bearing similar portrait, wanting to demonstrate their homage to the person in the picture in the shape of glittering frame. So Datta is habitual of getting these kind of pictures to be framed because people want to pay homage, they want to pay respect to their elders by framing their pictures in a good frame. The customer was describing the greatness of the man. Now customer, he starts saying big words about this man whose photo he want to frame. Extravagant qualities of nobility, compassion, and charity were being generously attributed to him in a voice that came close to the chanting of a holy scripture. He says this old man was generous. He was, so much involved in charity. He was full of compassion. He was full of love for the other. He was a noble man, the person says. If this world had just a few more like him, believe me, it would certainly have been a different place. Of course, there are demons who may not agree with me. They are out to disagree his name and destroy his memory. But he is God in my home. What sort of a frame do you want? Now, the customer, he goes on praising this man whose photograph he is carrying in his hand. He says, my god, if this world has for a few more people like him, it would turn into a heaven. Now Datta is not interested. He is not listening much. He says, okay, tell me, what kind of frame do you want? Datta interrupted. Plain, wooden, lacquer, gold, plastic, or just enamel painted. Now customer, he wants, I want gold or enamel paint and all. He describes it. Lacquer is the varnish. He waved a casual hand toward the picture on the wall. The customer silently surveyed the various frames. After some time, Datta heard him mumble, I want the best. I don't have any second rate stuff in my shop, Datta said. He was shown a number of samples, plain, decorative, floral, geometrical, thin, hefty, and so forth. The customer was baffled by the variety. He examined the selection before him for a long time. Now Datta just points out toward his shop and says, you can watch all the frames here. You select. He said, I want best. And Datta says, I have best things only. I don't keep cheap stuff in my shop. So he says, what kind of sample you want? Plain, decorative, geometrical, floral, which is full of flowers, or thin or hefty, a bigger one? What kind of you want? I have every sort of sample in my shop. Page 142. Now turn to page 143. Unsure of his judgment, and was afraid of enshrining his savor forever in some ugly cheap frame. He said, I don't want a cheap frame, I want a good one, the customer says. Datta came to his rescue and recommended one with a profusion of gold leaves and winding creepers, and in order to clear any lingering doubt he might still harbor in regard of its quality, added, it is German imported. Now Datta was very much bored when this customer, he was unable to decide what frame he wants. So now Datta comes and he offers a frame and says it is German imported, and it has gold leaves and has flowering design on it. Now the customer at once seemed impressed and silenced. Datta next asked, you want a plain mount or a cut mount? Now he says, this is a good frame. Now what kind of cutting you want from the fourth side of the frame? You want plain or cut mount? And watch the puzzled look. Again he helped the man out by showing his various mounts and suggested that the cut mount looked more elegant. He says, you can have cut mount because it looks good, Datta suggests to the customer. Next. All right, let me have a cut mount. Is that a cut mount? He asked, pointed to a framed picture on the wall of a soulful looking lady in an oval cut mount. I like the shape. Will it cost much? No, frame, mount, glass. All will cost 17 rupees. Then customer looks at a picture of an old lady. He says, I like the shape of that frame, oval shape. And how much will it cost? Datta says, all are of the same cost, 17 rupees. The customer had expected it would be more. He pretended to be shocked all the same and tried to bargain. Datta withdrew to his corner without replying and began to cut a piece of plywood. The customer hung about uncertainly for some time and finally asked, when will you have it ready? And barely heard the reply over the vibrating noise of the saw on the plywood, 2 weeks from today. Now, although this customer he was very much surprised with the price because it was not a hefty amount, it was not a big amount, and he says, okay, but please, he starts bargaining, in spite of knowing that it is a good money. And now Datta, he sat on his work, he was doing his things, and he did not notice what customer was saying. And he, for a few minutes, the customer, he kept on standing there and finally asked, okay, when will you have it ready? When can I get the frame? So the rates are now finalized and the customer has ordered the frame. Datta had learnt by long experience that his customer never came punctually. They came days in advance and went away disappointed, or came months later, and some never turned up at all, and their pictures lay unclaimed in a box, gathering dust and feeding cockroaches and silverfish. Therefore he made frames for those who come to him and visited him at least twice before he actually executed their orders. Now Datta, since he is doing this job of making frames for a very long time, he knows that many times, customer just they order to make a frame and they never come to take it, and it is lying there in his shop only. So what he prefers is, he prefers to his visitors, his customers, to visit his shop at least twice, at least two times, so that he could know that the customer is really willing to buy the frame. So he does not reply very kind of enthusiastically. He says, okay, come after 2 weeks. 10 days later, the tall, rustic looking man appeared and inquired, has the picture been framed? Now 10 days have passed on, and this customer again comes to the shop of Datta. I was passing by and thought I could collect it if it was ready. He says, okay, is my frame ready? Datta cast a sideway look at him and continued with his work. I know I have come 4 days earlier. The customer grinned. Will it be ready by Tuesday? Now Datta sees that okay, he has come 4 days prior, before 4 days, so he does not bother to answer. And customer is standing there and says, oh, I know I have come 4 days before, but would it be ready by Tuesday? Datta merely nodded without shifting attention for a tiny tail which with precise rhythmic stroke was driving into a frame. Now Datta is busy in making his frame, and he's not noticing what the customer is saying, and he just nods, he just moves his head and says, yes, this would be ready by Tuesday. Turn to page 144. Obsessive attachments to the photograph. He told himself there would be trouble if he did not deliver the order on the promised date. Now Datta has not started making the frame. He just thinks, okay, now I need to make it because the customer has come to his shop for the second time. So he is very much interested in having his frame back. Next morning he made that his first job, keeping aside all the order. The photograph was lying on a shelf among many others. He took it and carefully kept it on a wooden plank on the floor. Now next morning, Datta starts making this frame of the photograph, and he picks up the photograph from the shelf. Then he looked for the pencil stub for marking the measurement. Now he starts measuring the stubs. As usual, it was missing. He swept his hand all round his scattering fragment of glass and wood. So as you know, R.K. Narayan, the writer R.K. Lakshman, initially has told that how confused Datta becomes while framing his frames. Sometimes the pencil is forgotten, sometimes the other things are forgotten. So same happen again. He is searching for his pencil. False shapes that he mistook for the pencil harassed him on and stalked his anger. And he's trying to search for his pencil, and something else comes into his hand. Might be a wooden stub or something. So he gets frustrated. He says, "What is happening?" Frustrated in all his attempt to find it, he finally stood up to shake the fold of his dhoti, an ultimate move which generally yielded results. But he shook the fold so violently that he upset a tin containing white enamel paint, and it landed right on the sacred photograph of the old man, emptying its thick, slimy content on it. Now, students, you would see a change, a dramatic movement in the poem. Now, what has happened? While Datta is trying to make the frame and his pencil is lost, he gets up and he moves his dhoti to find out his pencil, and suddenly the paint it pours on the photograph of that man. So the photograph is filled with the paint. Datta stood transfixed and started at the disaster at his feet as if he had suddenly lost all faculty of movement. He could not bring himself even to avert his eyes from the horror which he seems to be cruelly forced to view. Then his spectacles clouded with perspiration and helpfully screamed his vision. Now Datta is confused. My God, what has happened? The photograph is ruined. It has destroyed. When at last he fully recovered his sense, he set about rescuing the picture in such a desperate hurry that he made a worse mess of it. He rubbed the picture so hard with the cloth that he peeled off thin strips of filmy coating from its surface. Before he realized what he had done, half the old man's face and nearly all of his turban were gone. Datta helplessly looked at the venerable elder transformed into thick black sticking to the animal smeared on the rag in the hand. Now what Datta was trying to remove the paint from the picture, and he took a cloth, and as he moved that cloth on the picture, the picture, it the film of the picture came out. It was all vanished. The face and nearly all his turban were gone. He sat with both hands clutching his hand. Every nerve in his throbbed as if it would tear itself apart if he did not hold it down. What answer was he going to offer to the customer who had a fanatic devotion to the photograph he had just mutilated beyond recovery? His imagination ran wild, suggesting nightmarish consequence to his own dear self and to the fragile, inflammable shop. He racked his brain for a long while till sheer exhaustion calmed his agitated nerves and made him accept the situation with a hopeless. Now, Datta was confused. He was thinking what answer he is going to give to the customer, because according to Datta, his customer is very much attached to this picture, because he has noticed that customer came 4 days before, while to pick this photograph from his shop. Now he is very much confused. He's as believing that his nerves will blast somehow. Page number 145. Meanwhile, the plethora of gods, saints, and images gazed down at him from the wall with a transcendental smile and seemed to offer themselves to him to pray. With a fervent appeal in his heart, he started at them. And Datta is so confused. He looks at the photographs of all the gods which is there in his shop, and he prays to the god to help him. In his state of mind, it did not register for quite a while that a particular photograph of a person on the wall had held his attention rather more than it was qualified to do. It was an ordinary portrait of a middle aged man in a dark suit and striped tie, resting his right arm jauntily on a studio prop made to look like a fluted Roman pillar. Datta was amazed to see that he had a faint likeness to the late lamented old man. The more he gazed at the face, the more convincing it appeared to him, but he dismissed the odd resemblance he saw as one of those tricks of a thoroughly faked out mind. All the same, at the back of his mind, an idea began to take shape. He saw the possibility of finding an acceptable substitute. Now Datta was in a trouble. Then suddenly he looked at a picture of the old man which was framed in his shop, and he noticed that this old man looks very same to the photograph which has been destroyed by him. And then suddenly an idea comes to his mind. He brought down the old wooden box in which he had kept all the photographs unclaimed over the years. As he rummaged in it panicky cockroaches and spiders scurried helter-skelter all over the floor. Now what idea came to Datta? He just got an idea that he would, find a similar photograph of a man who looks like the photograph he has destroyed. And he opens his old box. There was lying some photographs which the customers never appeared to take. And as he opens the box, there were many cockroaches and spiders. Unmindful of them, Datta anxiously searched for the brownish photograph of the old man's vintage. Soon there was a pile before him. He was surprised he could pick up so many which qualified to take the old man's place. But he had to reject a lot of them. In most of the portrait, the subject sported a very conspicuous flower vase next to them, or ever dressed grandchildren sat on their laps, and therefore had to be rejected. Luckily, there was one with which Datta felt he could take a fair risk. The print had yellowed a bit noticeably, but he calculated that the total effect, when put in a dazzling gold frame, would render it safe. Now what happened? As Datta he tried to search for the photograph, he suddenly find so many photographs of the old people, but some of them photograph were with their grandchildren, and some photographs there were flower pot. So the customer would have identified that this is not the picture which he has given. And suddenly Datta he found a picture which just looks similar to the picture which he has destroyed. After a couple of hours concentrated work, he sat back and proudly surveyed the old man's double, looking resplendent in his gold frame. He was so pleased with his achievement that he forgot he was taking perhaps one of the greatest risks any frame maker ever took. He even became bold enough to challenge the customer if his faking was discovered. "Look, my dear man," he would say, "I don't know who has been fooling you. That is the picture you brought here for framing. Take it or throw it away." Now, Datta, he started making the frame of this photograph, and he knew it very well that he is going to cheat his customer, but he was left with no option, because either he has to say his customer that the photograph was destroyed, or he has to find the substitute. And then suddenly he thinks that what happens if Datta is caught in this fraud. And then Datta finds an answer that he would say to the customer that this is the only picture which you brought. If you don't like, throw it away. The days that followed were filled with suspense and anxiety. So in this way, Datta, he was very nervous, and many days passed like this. Datta feared that the customer would surprise him at an unguarded moment, making him bungle the entire carefully thought out plot. But the man turned up promptly a couple of days later. At that moment, Datta was bent over a piece of work and slightly stiffened as he heard the voice, shrill with expectation, ask if it is ready. And many days later, that customer comes back to Datta and asks, "Is my frame ready?" Datta's heart began to race, and to compose himself, he let a whole minute pass without answering. Then he put aside the scissors in his hand and slow deliberation, and reached out to take the nearly wrapped package in a corner. Now Datta was very much shocked, and he did not answer for the first few minutes. And then suddenly he gets up from his seat, goes to the corner of the shop, and picks up the packet which he has wrapped. "Ah, it is ready," the customer exclaimed with childish delight, at the same time mumbling flattering tribute to Datta for his promptness and so on. He spread his arm widely with dramatic exuberance to receive the photograph, as it was actually a long lost person he was greeting. And suddenly the customers say, "Oh my God," he becomes very happy, "My photograph is ready." And he praises Datta for quickness of making the frame. And then he receives that photo with exuberance. He is very happy to get that photograph. But Datta took his time removing the wrapper from the frame. Now Datta has wrapped this frame. Now he removes the wrapper. The customer waited impatiently, filling in the time, showering more praise on his worshipper master who has made to adorn the wall of his home. Now customer, while Datta is opening the packet, customer is praising Datta for his work. Datta finally revealed the glittering frame and held it toward him. The customer seemed visibly struck by its grandeur and fell silent like one who had entered the inner sanctum of a temple. Now customer opens the photograph. Now students, here you will see how suspense is created. And the customer is as silent as when you enter into some religious place. When you enter to Gurdwara or Mandir, you are asked to keep silent. So this customer is as silent as when you are while entering a inner sanctum of a temple. Datta held his breath and watched the man's expression. With every second that passed, he was losing his nerve and thought that in another moment he would betray the big hoax he had played. Now Datta is very nervous, because he knows that he will be caught. He will be caught that this picture is not of the person which he has been asked to frame, and he is very confused. Suddenly he saw the customer straighten, the reverential look and benevolent expression vanished from his face. "What have you done?" he demanded indignantly. For Datta the movement seemed familiar, for he had already gone through it 1,000 times night. Now the customer screams, "What have you done?" Datta, he is so scared, and he splashed the white paint on the original photograph. Datta was scared from the very first day when he has ruined this photograph with the white paint. Several times he had rehearsed the speech precisely an occasion, but before he could open his mouth, the customer shouted, "Now don't deny it. Clearly remember asking for a cut mount with an oval shape. This is square, look." Now customer says, what have you done? I had asked you to make a shape of oval shape, and you have made a square shape. So now Datta is relaxed. Here the story ends. So what you would notice, that the customer has not looked at, he has not noticed this, the picture is not of his great grandfather, this picture is of someone else. So he is more concerned about the shape of the frame. So students, here ends the story. What is the moral is, like, our young generation, they pretend to love their great grandparents, but in reality they even don't know how they look like, they don't notice it. So it has just become a fashion to keep the photographs of your elders in your home without knowing them, or as in the story, without knowing their face. So that is all for today. We'll continue with another story in the next week.